Don't stop now, Philly. Keep it going. Keep it going. Keep it going. Don't stop now because the cameras is rolling. Keep those Bojangles moves moving, bro.
We good?
Yeah, we good. Go ahead.
Welcome everybody to the Madden Underground post-game show where we look at the week's action and we talk about it. So first up for you gentlemen, by the way, Philly guy to the top right of me, Brian James to the top left. I just pointed in the wrong direction, you know.
You want to start over?
No, I don't want to start over. We might as well. The start was already good when you two were doing that. Why stop now? So first thing I want to ask you guys, not a lot of interesting matchups this week.
No,
just not a lot, but some interesting results. I'm going to name two of them. Then I'm going to ask you guys. So the Packers lost to the Commanders by 2, and then the Panthers beat the Buccaneers, blew them out.
Mm-hmm.
Blew them out at home. Panthers at home. So take it for what it's worth. Who do you guys think is in more trouble, the Buccaneers or the Packers?
I'm going to go Buccaneers. Because
old
man Brady is looking like old man Brady. The defense isn't helping at all. And normally, when you got a quarterback that's aging, you normally, like the Broncos with Peyton Manning, had a defense to pick up the slack, and various other quarterbacks that got carried to the Super Bowl. Normally has a defense to a worthy defense to make up for the lack of, quarterbacking that they have on the team. But Brady looks real old. He made a lot of good throws and there were a lot of passes dropped, but his decision making looks like it's one click behind than it normally is. So I'm gonna add that. I guess blame that on the age. What about you, Philly?
Well, I'm sorry, but I got to go with the Packers, and that's really based on the division and the records. I mean, the Bucs, they're basically tied for first in their division. So, they haven't been looking too good. We know Brady has his off the field issues. I agree with you 100%, but I got to go with the Packers. Packers are in a downward spiral. They are not first in their division. The Vikings are, and the Vikings slapped them up to start off the season, and they're not looking too good right now. So I think it's got to be the Packers, man. I don't think that they're going to be able to fight their way back up into that division. They're not going to be able to fight their way back up in the NFC. So I'm picking the Packers.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to agree with Philly. The Packers got to figure it out at some point, but 3-4, they're 3-4 now. Vikings are 5-1. They have one lone loss to probably the best team in the NFC, the Philadelphia Eagles. But there's just no offense to be found with that team. Their receiving core is outright bad. Alan Lazard is not a number one receiver. I don't care how many times somebody screams it at me. He's not a number one receiver. Romeo Doubs had a really, really bad game tonight. A lot of drops. The best receiver, I tweeted this out earlier. The best receiver that the Packers currently have is Aaron Jones, their starting running back. It's not pretty. It's Aaron Rodgers also doesn't trust anybody to make any plays. He's only throwing to guys who's been there with him for a while. He targeted Alan Lazard a lot. He targeted Robert Tonyan a lot. He targeted Aaron Jones a lot. Everybody else, maybe a couple throws here and there. That's a problem. When you know that the only players that a quarterback's going to target are those guys, you become easy to defend. Whereas you see other quarterbacks, let's say Patrick Mahomes, even Tom Brady, he's not just trying to target one guy all the time. Spreads it around, and if somebody goes off, somebody goes off. But it's pretty easy to telegraph what the Packers want to do. It's get the ball to Aaron Jones, get the ball to Alan Lazard, get it to Tonyan. It's getting to the point where if they don't go get a receiver sometime before the trade deadline, which is coming up in about a week, it's going to be an early round exit again for them if they even make it to the playoffs, which I think they will. But it's going to be another early round exit.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the offense, though, because really, to me, it's about their lack of defense. I mean, their defense is not very good, and they have way too much talent on that team. to be playing at the level that they are right now. And I'm gonna say, like I said it last week, all signs point to the New York Giants. So if your team isn't winning and your team isn't doing well and you have a bunch of excuses, all a GM has to do is just look at the New York Giants and say, oh, they're winning.
Like exactly. Does anybody in this chat think that the Giants have more talent than the Green Bay Packers?
I don't.
Offensively, yes.
Maybe offensively. Like, I think Saquon's the best player out of those groups. But one player doesn't make
defensively, I thought the Packers had a better defense, but offensively, I would take the
on paper. But again, every GM's going to look at the Giants situation and be like, "What? Why can't you do that?"
Mm-hmm.
And
you put Galladay on the Packers are a better team.
Yeah, I think so, because at least he'll have a big target to throw to.
Exactly.
But then again, I feel like they have to go get a receiver. Like Robbie Anderson cost a 6th and 7th round pick. You're telling me that the Packers couldn't fork over a 6th and 7th round pick? They couldn't.
They could have got what's his name Moore from the Panthers.
Yeah, like Carolina's kind of in fire still. Like
Jerry Judy's on the block.
Yeah, like Jerry. If anybody needs out of the place they're currently in, it's Jerry Jeudy. Yeah. Like I've never seen someone have so much hype behind him coming out of college, and then is like immediately put in a situation where quarterbacks can't seem to throw in Denver. So maybe that gets figured out. But do you guys believe that either of these teams will turn it around?
Well, I think the Buccaneers their division is to their advantage because everybody else is stinking up the joint too. Mm-hmm. So I think out of those two, I think who has the better chance of making the playoffs, in my opinion, the Buccaneers. So the division sucks. So I'm not gonna say sucks, but they're all struggling over there. Yeah, and I think it's the schedule that they have.
Well, it's also quarterback play in that division. Like the quarterback play in that division is sorry.
Yeah.
Like you got PJ Walker, who had a really good game against the Buccaneers. Don't get me wrong.
He had a great game,
but had a really good game. Then you got Marcus Mariota, which I'm not a believer in. Like, I'm sorry. I'm just not. Like, there's a reason why they keep trying to run the ball every single down. Like, they do not trust Mariota. And then you got a combination of Jameis Winston or Andy Dalton. I've never been high on Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
Then Andy Dalton, you all saw what he did on Thursday Night Football. Like, it was bad.
Yeah,
like, it
was
bad. Like, he threw them out of that game with the 2 pick sixes, one of which wasn't his fault, but that second one was brutal.
Well, I mean, did you ever think that he was really back to his Bengal ways when he was playing with the Cowboys? I didn't.
No.
I mean, not the Cowboys. I'm sorry, when he was with the Bears.
The Bears?
Yeah, he was terrible. He was terrible.
Yeah,
so,
but,
I mean,
but like
that's not saying a lot.
But like every quarterback in every Bears quarterback that has been terrible.
Nah. Look, he don't have that zip on the ball. He's not making good decisions, so his physical is failing him and his mental is failing him. I mean, you're supposed to be an experienced quarterback. So there's certain throws you should not be making or attempting because you know your limitations.
And Andy Dalton's defense. A lot of those passes touched the hands of the receiver that were picked off this last week against the Cardinals. They all were tipped. Like I think two. How many interceptions he threw? 3, right? 2 to 3 interceptions actually hit the receiver's hands.
3 interceptions. I think he threw 3. One of them I know went off the guy's hands.
Yeah,
that one's the one that wasn't his fault.
Yeah,
but the other 2, you just can't make those throws. I think he tried, he made a red zone. He threw a red zone interception on his first one. Then the third one, he threw it right to a defender that went for 6. Like he threw him out of the game. Like
literally.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's been an interesting weekend to say the least. Dak came back. How do you guys feel about the return of Dak Prescott?
Mr. Eagles fan.
It's hard to tell because they played the Lions. The Lions are the worst defense in the league. Like, it's really hard to tell. I think he's rusty, which is to be expected. I mean, his first game in a month and a half. I mean, he looked pretty solid. But again, Detroit's defense isn't exactly, the 86 Bears or the 85 Bears. I think it's to be determined. I need to see what he does against a good team, against a good defense. before I'm like, okay, maybe the Cowboys can, make a little bit of noise. Like, because like I was saying this whole time, like I was saying this to J Doug, shout out to him. Please bring Cooper Rush on to Philly. Please bring him to Philly. Like, it'll get ugly, and it did. And so, like, I'm glad that Dak's back because now we don't have to hear about how much better of a quarterback that Cooper Rush is than Dak Prescott, which was insanity to me. But I felt he looked solid. I mean, the offense looked solid, but your offense is supposed to look solid against the Detroit Lions. So I think it's to be determined for me. But, solid start, win your game. That's all you can really do.
Okay. Well, and that's a fair assessment, I think, coming from an Eagles fan. I mean, when you call it like it is, I mean, he's coming back from injury. You want to play against the Detroit Lions. You don't want to play against the top 5.
Yeah, that's a great scrimmage. It's a great scrimmage.
Exactly. You want the Dak attack in full effect. So you want him going up against the worst defense in the NFC, which happens to be the Lions. And that way he can get back into a rhythm. But I think that what people tend to forget is that whenever your backup quarterback is having success with the team and they're looking good, and people are like, it should be the starter. There's a controversy. No, there's not a controversy. This player had every opportunity to win the starting position. They failed to do so. And the only reason they're playing is because the starter is out. And what you want is you want them to be able to come in. You want them to be able to play at a high level. And yes, that means the play calling changes a little bit. Yes, that means everybody is supposed to elevate their game because it's very much like playoff football, right? Every down and possession counts because we know in the regular season, everybody don't play 100%. They don't not going 100 miles an hour on every down. But those are the type of conversations that most of the time, the media wants that to get going. I mean, come on, look, all news is good news. They know that Dak is the better quarterback. He's proven it. He's vested. And frankly, he's the reason that the team is probably going to make the playoffs. But their defense is the only side of the football that people should be talking about. They shouldn't be talking about the quarterback. They should be talking about what that defense has been doing, because that defense has been playing lights out. And they are definitely the reason that the Cowboys have the record that they do.
You're muted.
Well, we can read his lips. He said, "Is Geno Smith the real deal?"
Is Geno Smith the real deal? Depends on what you mean by real deal. Like, do I think he's a franchise-altering quarterback? No. Do I think he is an NFL starter? Absolutely. 7 games, he's been one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He's been playing like a top half of the league quarterback. The Seahawks are 4-3 because, again, that defense is really good. Like, they got, like we were talking this off air, a lot of the players that they have drafted are contributing. Like, we talked about Tariq Woolen last week and how great he's been and how amazing he's been. Kenneth Walker has stepped up big time in place of Rashad Penny. And I mean, and then Charles Cross has been really, really good. It's kind of like a perfect storm of everybody playing up to the standards that they have. Like Marquise Goodwin, who's been riddled with injuries for I feel like 3 years, caught 2 touchdowns today. And Geno's looked so impressive, and I'm so happy for the guy because I always felt he got a bad rap with New York. I felt he got a really bad rap, like a bad rap with the Jets, I should say. And then with the Giants, when McAdoo tried to start him over Eli, when Eli was out here stinking up the joint, that got him fired. And I really feel like it was because they started Geno. They tried to start Geno Smith instead of Eli. I feel like if it was like some other quarterback, that wouldn't have been the case. But Geno gets this bad rap because, he played for the Jets. And sometimes, I don't like to say it, Philly, but like sometimes you just need to get that old team stink off you. Like, I mean, that's really what it was. I feel like that's what it was. Like, Geno has never to me been like, he's the absolute worst quarterback I've ever seen, or he's not an NFL quarterback. I felt like he could be a solid bridge quarterback that you can have on your team. And when you see what's going on in Denver Like that trade is looking better and better every single week for the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm going right back to the Giants example. All you got to do is take a look at what the Giants are doing before you start talking about our quarterbacks bust or not. When you see the type of coaching and the system that the New York Giants have built, okay, now we're looking at their quarterback a little bit differently. Now maybe there's some decisions that need to be made. Do you hold on to your draft pick and maybe not draft a quarterback if you're the New York Giants? Right now, it's looking like that's what you do. But Geno Smith, and I'll even go as far as to say Mark Sanchez. I'm not going to talk about that other cat from USC that sees ghosts. I'm just going to say that when they had talent, they were able to have success. Okay, but the coaching failed them. And the one thing I'll say with Geno is, yes, he's very mobile, but like you said, if Denver doesn't make that trade with Seattle, then Seattle's not going to get all of those pieces to fill those holes that we knew that they had, and they're not going to have the success. So I think that, yes, Geno, he's definitely a starting quarterback. I think that he has a much, much better opportunity. He's been able to stay in the league. The coaching is better for him to have success in Seattle. And I think that it shows. But I think it's unfair if you really don't address the fact that Seattle had a lot of holes, and the only way they were able to fill that was by trading Russ. So for people to think that if Russ would have stayed, that he would have been held to the same standard as Geno Smith is not fair, because they wouldn't have been able to get all of those pieces that they needed in order for Geno to be successful. So
I also want to counter that with, it seemed like Russ didn't want to be in a run first system, which the Seahawks do. That's what they do, is they run first.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Geno, I feel like is got to be way more open with that. Geno wants to win.
He has no ego.
What it seems like, and what we've heard from multiple players from those Legion of Boom days, like Russ wants to be the reason that the team wins.
Exactly.
Like that's what's been heard. Sherman said it forever. You've heard Marshawn like criticize Russell Wilson on Sherman's podcast, nonetheless. Doug Baldwin, a guy he got paid, has come out and took shots against him. Like, it seems like Russ wasn't a really very dude in that locker room.
Well, why are we hearing about it right now? You know what I'm saying?
Because he's struggling. But Sherman's been on it forever. Sherman's been on it forever.
We kind of knew about it when what's his name, Golden Tate had to leave the Seahawks because of that situation that involved his ex-wife. Yeah, his ex-wife. So that you have that situation. So everybody knew that Russell Wilson, the locker room wasn't rocking with him like that. If your teammate is gonna go as far as to try your wife or whatever like that, then and nobody, it is what it is. It's just kind of like it is what it is mentality. Then that says a lot about.
It seems like that team is a lot more together with Geno than they were with Russ.
Yeah, ever been with Russ.
Maybe Russ isn't like the leader that he's being portrayed to be. Maybe that's what it is. But it seems like nobody from those Seattle teams are really sorry that he's gone.
And the thing about it too is that you got to think about Russell Wilson's personality. A lot of these guys come from various different backgrounds, and he doesn't come off as genuine. Like, just even watching him on TV, it seems like when is the news gonna break that he broke
everything
character?
Is everything is everything with him kind of seems rehearsed.
Yeah, rehearsed, well rehearsed. And it's okay.
But what has that got to do with?
It has a lot. It has a lot.
It could, because if the team, think about it, the team that gets along, that build chemistry. That builds chemistry better. That team might perform better. When you feel like everybody's gonna go out there for you, it feels different, and you want to play for all your teammates. But when you feel like the guy who's at the guy who runs the ship ain't really rocking with you, or because with Marshawn Lynch said on that podcast, I'd like to reach out to him, but I don't want to go through his agent to try to get to him. If I got to call your agent to have a conversation with you, I'm just not going to have a conversation with you.
Well, I mean,
Like that was what was said. Who else
I
does
get
that?
but they, I mean, look, they went to the Super Bowl 2 times, right? They won one, they lost one. So what is winning the solution to everything? You know,
No, they
everybody was
didn't
like,
like him when he was winning.
they didn't like him, but we're winning, so it's okay. And now he's
Yeah,
off the team.
yeah.
He's
Like it's
losing. Now the Super's
circumstances,
coming
like
up.
circumstances block out other circumstances. Like
Yeah,
that's life. Like, hey, I really don't like my boss, but you know what? He got me that raise, so you know what? I'm gonna chill for a while. Like that's literally that's life. You're gonna overlook things when things are going your way, like the way you want them to. But the minute they stop, but the minute and the reason being is because of the one dude, yeah, they're gonna pile on.
I don't know. I feel like they hold on to the past too much because the way I see it, he's with the Denver Broncos and they're playing like trash and they're losing. So whatever he did in Seattle, it don't matter. It don't matter because he's taking.
But it matters that like,
Sherman's
but
not
nobody felt going
league.
into the season that Geno Smith was going to be 4-3 at week 7. Nobody thought that.
No,
like,
and you know
not
what?
even Seahawks fans. Talk to Dre knows they thought this year was going to be a wash. And they thought they were looking at C.J. Stroud and they were looking at Bryce Young.
Yeah,
now they're still looking at him.
Yeah, I mean, look.
They still could, not because of their pick.
With the Bronco pick.
You know,
best of both worlds. We get to win and Russ stinks.
It's like I've always said before, right? It's a win-win situation for them. They either get a high draft pick or they're actually performing well. But we can't talk about the Seahawks' success without talking about what the Rams aren't doing, what the Niners aren't doing, what the Cardinals aren't doing. I mean, these were supposed to be the better teams in the division, and they are all underperforming.
I've got a lot of thoughts about the Cardinals and the Niners. I've got a lot of thoughts about them. Like, keep telling me, I don't get it with Jimmy Smith or Jimmy Garoppolo. I really don't get it. What is it that people see in this dude that think, oh, he's going to win us a Super Bowl? Like, how many times does he got to make? Yeah, he got them there, not because of him. You're going to tell me, like, if you go and look at those games that he won in the NFC playoffs. That's in those NFC playoffs, they were scared to death of him throwing that ball. Yeah, they wanted to run the ball and run it as much as they can and hope that Jimmy didn't have to make a throw at the end. And then when it came to Kansas City and he had to make a throw, he couldn't do it. And then you can even say last year, hey, Jimmy, needs you to make some throws. Couldn't do it. But
they kept him on the team. He's still on the roster. So
yeah, because he's the best backup that they've got, and he knows the system. That's the only reason. But if you really truly believe that the dude that the Niners traded 3 first-round picks to get his replacement is the answer, I don't know what to say to you anymore. Like, how many times does he have to prove you wrong and prove me right before you just decide, okay, maybe he's just not a good quarterback. Like, he's not. Everything has to be going according to plan. And then the minute something deviates from the plan or something happens and he's got to go make a play, it turns out to be a disaster. When are we going to look at Jimmy Garoppolo and think he's an okay quarterback for somebody to maybe he like I said, he can get you to the dance. Worst quarterbacks have gotten somebody to the dance, but he'll never make you prom queen. Okay. Never.
That's fair.
Then with the Cardinals, just fire Cliff Kingsbury. Like, y'all saw that Thursday night. They clearly don't get along. Yeah. Like, I've never seen a quarterback just screaming at their head coach like that. I've seen that with a coordinator.
I've seen it happen to a head coach. But it was just the fact that he screamed. He was screaming at him, and they were like, "What happened after the game?" He was like, "I didn't like his body language from the field. Like, like I didn't like his body language.
He didn't like your play calling.
Yeah,
it's like let's not pretend like they won that game because their offense was going great. Let's not pretend that.
The defense made
Andy
Dalton kind of like
decided,
they did against the Raiders. Defense balled
Andy
out.
Dalton threw just as many touchdown passes to the Cardinals as Kyler Murray did.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's interesting. But yes, to say the least, we got a interesting game tonight between the Steelers and the Dolphins. Is Tua playing?
I think he was on the field. I don't know if he's playing. I think he was activated, actually. I think he might be playing.
And if he's playing, is this the game that you really want to bring him back to play?
I mean, yes. Yeah, the Steelers defense is in shambles. Like they lost TJ Watt and they can no longer get to the quarterback. Like the Steelers defense has not been good. Plus the Steelers are just not good. Yeah, like I think they might. Are they starting Mitch Trubisky or Pickett tonight?
Trubisky.
It's Trubisky. Oh yeah, this is the perfect game.
Yeah, Trubisky, and then on top of that, Trubisky got into a fight with what was it, Dante Johnson in the locker room. Like they were actually like about to go throw blows, you know. So
yeah, you know what? I agree with Deontay Johnson. He's on my fantasy team. I want to punch Mitch Trubisky too.
So that they were saying that he's not the leader that they thought he was. I'm like, sometimes as a leader, you gotta put hands on some of the guys.
To be fair, they should be used to that. They had Ben Roethlisberger in that locker room.
Yeah,
they should be used to that.
You know, so I don't know. It's very interesting to see how it'll all pan out. Another game that I thought was interesting today was the Titans and the Colts game.
Really?
Not that
you're the only person in the world who thinks that.
Well, my reason being is Malik Willis got to play a little bit today.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, and Tannehill did everything in his power to get back on the field in spite of being injured.
Of course,
Tannehill did everything in his power to make sure he was back on the field. In spite of being injured, like he went down ankle injured, they went and spatted him back up. He was limping all around, and he made sure he got back in there before Malik got going. But what I found very interesting was they lined Malik Willis up at receiver and ran a reverse to him, and I'm like, okay,
so they doing what everybody thought they should be doing with Lamar Jackson.
And it kind of like I was a bit perturbed. Or what is that? Is that the word, Philly?
Yes,
deterred.
Yeah. I was pissed off a little bit because I was like, yo, we have guys on the team that you could have put a running back right there to run that play.
Mm-hmm.
You could have put anybody right there to run that play, but they chose to put Malik Willis right there.
Yeah, because now he's gonna get that stereotype. Should he be a receiver?
It should be a receiver. Should be a tailback or a tight end or any. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, come on, man.
Like he's not Taysom Hill. Like
that's not fair. That's not fair. I think that they were trying to see if they were going to get a certain look because obviously if he gets the ball, we know that he can throw it. But I agree with you, B. James. Tannehill is going to do everything in his power because he's trying to hold on to his job. Yeah, because he knows that this young man is there for a reason, and he's seen what he can do in practice. And so he knows,
the clock's ticking.
The clock is ticking. I got to, lace me up, throw me out there, coach. I'm good to go.
So, it was a few things that stood out to me today.
Congrats on the win, by the way.
Yeah, a few things. The running game is coming together.
Mm-hmm.
I think Derrick Henry had the most rushing yards of all running backs today.
On 30 carries.
Yeah, but
they run him into the ground.
He got it done. Yeah. Our kicker, Randy Bullock, he's getting back into his zone after costing us the game against the Giants. And Tannehill's in a boot after the game. So that means that there is a possibility that next week Malik Willis may start if Tannehill remains in that boot.
We'll see.
So,
and that's what you want. You want to see what the young man has. You want to see how the offense opens up.
The thing is, our division is a dumpster fire. Jags aren't playing well. Colts aren't playing well. Texans aren't playing well.
Both the Souths
dumpster fires. So
somebody got to win that division.
Yeah, somebody got to win that division. It's definitely not going to be. Well, it may be us just by default.
Yeah, real quick, Philly. How'd you feel about the Jets game?
I loved what I saw out of DJ Reed. I thought he balled out. He was targeted so many times, and he came up big every single time. And what that told me was that their secondary is a lot better than it was last year. And because of that, when it mattered the most, That's exactly who stepped up and won the game. Because the Jets, they lost Brees Hall after his magnificent run. You know, his explosiveness is without question. But you know, offensively, they're really still trying to figure things out. I know Corey Davis, who was supposed to be the number one, I know that he wasn't able to play past the first quarter. We know that Elijah Moore has requested a trade because he's been unhappy with being targeted. And you know, the offense had a lot of question marks coming into that game, but it was all about the defense. I love what I saw from the defense, and they're the reason that the Jets were able to win the game. And you know, it's a good thing to see, but it's just hard for me to have these types of conversations, not just about the Jets, but about just other teams in general when they make excuses. And that's the hardest thing for me is, why are you making excuses? Like Brian James said, like, okay, you know, you have other players that you can put in instead of Malik Willis, and you have other things that you can do offensively. And I agree. I'm like, how can you not get Elijah Moore the ball? Tell me how hard it is
I was
to
about
get
to
him
ask
involved in the screen game.
He's actually on the trading block too.
Yeah, I was actually about to ask you about that. Like, what your thoughts were on Elijah Moore.
I mean, I look, I understand his frustration, and I don't think that he should be the one to bring it to our attention. There should be no reason why they're not getting him the ball. I mean, they brought him in. He's explosive. Garrett Wilson, same thing. And Brees Hall. You have these three rookies that are home run hitters, and you need to figure out how to get them the ball. Corey Davis, he's excellent blocker. He's got great hands. He's a very big receiver. Okay. But you got to get your weapons involved so that Corey can get some of those one-on-one matchups and can have an opportunity to shine. And I think that's been the biggest problem, is that the Jets offensively, they don't have an identity, not in the passing game. And you gotta have that. So I think that Elijah Moore, I think he deserves to be getting the ball. And I don't think that the answer that Zach Wilson gave was the best, because we saw how that worked out in Cleveland. And I just feel like, you know what, they got to figure this out together. So
wait, what answer did Zach Wilson give?
Well, yeah, I'm curious to that.
So basically what he said was, he was just like non-committal, just kind of like, not like, yeah, you know, I need to get him the ball. We need to get him the ball. We need to do a better job, or we need to do this. It was really just kind of like, you know, well, you know, we're winning and it depends on the situation. Also, I'm like, bruh.
Ain't that kind of true though? Like,
no,
isn't that kind of true?
It is not true as a quarterback, because you saw what happened with Baker Mayfield when you try to take that approach.
Now, Baker's response is totally different from what that was. Baker was, oh, so if you're not with us, then you're against us, then you shouldn't be here. Like, that's different. Look,
to me, it all sounds the same, because at the end of the day, we were talking about how Russ wants to be the man throwing the football, right? Well, that's how quarterbacks get paid. They get paid throwing the football, not handing it off. With receivers, that's how they get paid, with their receptions and their yards, not just running around being decoys, right? That's why Robbie Anderson was in his feelings in Carolina, and, you know, they shipped him off to the Cardinals. So all I'm saying is that if you're a quarterback, okay, you're a quarterback because you can throw the ball. Any one of us can go out there and just hand the ball off. I can hand the ball off to Saquon Barkley. You know what I'm saying? I can do that. You can do that. You need your quarterback to be able to throw the ball. And
I think your hands will be shaky, Philly.
Oh,
I think your hands will be extremely shaky.
I'm clutch, Brian James. You don't ever have to worry about that. You don't ever have to worry about that.
Down set.
No, never happened.
Take it,
and it never will.
Take it.
No, we don't do that. We don't.
I will say this: like, Zach Wilson was his second week back.
Yeah.
Like, I think we still need to give it time with it, because
I think the young man will be fine. I think the Jets are really they're trending up.
I feel like they're very talented. Like, I do feel like the receiver should get more involved, but like it looks like he's brought what San Francisco's philosophy
exactly
to New York is, we're going to be run first. Like, we're going to establish the run game, and that's been going really well for the Jets, and play great defense, which they've been doing. Now, it remains to be seen if Zach Wilson can be the guy. Like, hey, need you to make a throw to win the game. Like, that remains to be seen. But I think 5-2, like, we looked at that schedule. like the first 9 weeks. 5-2 seemed like a fever dream.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, like he should like the receiver. I feel like I do think Elijah Moore has a point because he was spectacular last year. He was really good last year. Not getting the targets now. I think like maybe you should move on from him, get what you can, because I'm pretty sure Green Bay will pay a pretty price to go get him, and then you have more draft capital. Can figure it out from there, or figure out how to get him the ball. Like he's what, your number 2 or 3 receiver on that team right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was supposed to be number 2, but we're talking about he's not even getting targeted. So it's not like he's not going out there. It's not like he's not putting in the effort. And again, I know he's all about winning. Okay, I don't need to know him personally, but he's in his comments, he's talked about how important winning is, and I think the winning is important. But I also think that you really have to be able to explain to the players, to the media, to the fans, you know what? This person isn't getting open. This person is better.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And we're only going to put the best people out on the field. But see, that's not what the Jets said. The Jets, they started, they dancing a little bit. And that's the only reason why I'm saying, like, you have to be able to get your playmakers the ball. And there's a lot of ways that they can do that, right? We've seen Debo Samuel get moved around, running back, wide receiver. They traded for McCaffrey, right? Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of ways to get him open.
Hey, McCaffrey had a pretty good game today, by the way.
Yeah, all things considered.
Yeah, he had a pretty good game.
Yeah.
With that being said, the game is already started. Or just about to kick off.
Tua's already thrown a touchdown.
Okay, so safe to say, are you gonna make a pick before the game ends?
Let me go Dolphins.
Dolphins, okay. I'll say Dolphins. What about you?
Steelers.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Go with the Steelers.
The contrarian.
All right. And with that being said, we'll be back this week. We'll be starting our Madden Underground playoffs. They'll be kicking off on the 26th?
26th? No. We're supposed to advance tonight, remember? We're supposed to advance tonight.
No, we advance tomorrow. We have game of the week tomorrow. So
game of the week. Tomorrow.
We were supposed to advance a day early, remember? The schedule.
Yeah, well.
We'll talk about that off air.
We'll forget that. But tomorrow, game of the week, and we got the game of the week tomorrow, and then we'll adjust accordingly. But yeah, we'll be starting the playoffs on the 27th. Then, no, the 28th. So 28th would be the 20. Is it 20? No, 26. It's 26. Philly.
Well, remember we were supposed to advance tonight.
If we advance tonight, it'd be the 25th, wouldn't it?
It would be the 26th. Playoffs will start on the 26th. Okay. We'll be advancing again on the 26th. So that'll be when the playoffs will be starting. We'll be starting at then 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th. Okay, yeah. So we got time. So yeah, we'll be kicking off the Madden Underground playoffs on Xbox and PS5 on those dates, and we'll also have the Madden Underground podcast on Wednesday. So make sure you guys check back, and we'll keep you updated on what's going on within the leagues on the playoffs and things like that for those days. We'll have you the prime matchups. We'll have the playoff tree and everything ready for you guys to watch and see. And we got some great. Hey, the playoffs are gonna be crazy because there are no bums in the playoffs as of now. I don't know if anybody may sneak in. Someone may trick a player into replaying the game. I don't know, but as of right now, there are no bums in the playoffs. So I'm looking forward to seeing. I'm definitely not in it, so there are no bums. Philly's not in it. B-Guard, you may make it, huh?
Yeah, I'm fighting for my playoff lives.
Okay, so B-Guard may make it, so he's trying not to be a bum. But the rest of us, we're looking forward to the draft or possibly simming the draft, depending on if that patch comes out. So everybody's like, yo, but we'll talk about that more on Wednesday and give the rest of the league update on what's going on with that.
And who's the game of the week? Isn't this the
it's the Dons Bronco game?
Yeah.
So we'll see what's going on with that. So we'll get that situated and we'll be in touch. See you guys Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, and we'll have another podcast for you. Peace out.
Do it.